So I want to make videos. Obviously, it's YouTube, and I want to make good videos, good quality, product that people are gonna watch and like want to comment on, so I can, get other people's opinions and all this stuff. The problem is a lot of the stuff that I know stuff about already have like thousands of channels out there. Like, there's people that watch a lot of, comic books or the Marvel movies and stuff. Like, there's a million websites out there, a million YouTube sites that cover stuff like that. I know a lot about zombies. I know a lot about like doomsday prepper stuff for people that don't have thousands of extra dollars. Like, you watch Doomsday Prepper, that TV show, and you're like, yeah, great. You got this giant house and all this land and an underground bunker and 30 generators and all that. Must be nice to have the money to buy that. I don't have that, so I gotta prep, on a budget. So I know about that kind of stuff, but you know, what is there that I know a lot about that people are interested in? And I noticed that the Star Wars novels, people don't tend to really talk about them on YouTube. You don't see a lot discussing the novels. And with Star Wars, like after Return of the Jedi ended and they did the prequels, all the way up to Revenge of the Sith, and then Disney came in and Disney bought the rights to Star Wars, and they basically said, okay, after Return of the Jedi, this is what's happening from now on, and you've got the Force Awakens and the Last Jedi, and now Rise of Skywalker is coming out. The problem is when those movies came out, there is roughly 50 years worth of stuff that has happened in the novels that was at one point considered actual Star Wars canon. I mean, this one here, this book, Star Wars Crucible, was the last one I knew of that came out, this last novel. And this is 45 years after Return of the Jedi, 45 years after the first Star Wars, after they blew up the first Death Star, the Battle of Yavin. Um, this has got Luke Skywalker's kid. This has got, the remaining, the Han and Leia obviously had kids, but if you know anything about the novels, they don't have quite as many as they used to. But you know what I mean? Like Ben Skywalker, Luke's kid, is like 16, 17 years old in this. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole history. And like the prequels, like I mean, it goes back like 5,000 years before like the first Star Wars ever came out. I mean, there's stories forever, and they all kind of like little tidbits here and there tie into each other. If you let me just dig through here. I mean, I don't know how well you can see that, but every one of these is the title of a book. I mean, there's almost, you know, over 100 and some odd, almost 150 books, 150 novels, and I've read all of them, and I know the storyline. And with this new whole, Rise of Skywalker thing that's going on with the Disney Star Wars, it really seems like they're kind of going with some of what happened in the novels, but they're changing it up. With Kylo Ren and Rey. I feel like that's a reference to Jason and Jana, but I'm not sure, and I don't want to get into it yet because I want to save that for an actual video on the novels. You know what I mean? Um, Quick side note, like I feel like it's obvious that Kylo Ren lied to Rey when they were talking about her parents. Hey, oh, they were junk. Oh yeah, they were junkers. They were worthless. Like I think she said something, and he's a Sith. He jumped on it to like she was vulnerable. He took a chance and was like, yep, that's exactly it. I don't think that's really her parentage. I really don't think. I actually still think they're related. I'm not sure, but whatever. Um, so the Star Wars novels, you know what I mean? Like, is that something people are interested in hearing the story of? Like, what happened to Han, like Luke, Leia, Lando, all these different people, like after the movies ended, but before Disney took over and, did their whole thing. Like, are people interested in something like that? Because, I mean, we can go back. I mean, episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, Darth Sidious, Senator, Palpatine there, was talking about his master, Master Plagueis. There, I have that whole story, of how he came to be and whatnot, and how Sidious came to power. I mean, people think Darth Maul was a Sith, and I mean, technically he was, but he really wasn't. When they killed him in Phantom Menace, and they're like, who'd we kill, the Master or the Apprentice? It was neither, really. Like, in the novelization, like, Sidious was still an apprentice to Plagueis. Sidious didn't kill Plagueis and become the Master until the actual night that he was elected Supreme Chancellor. That's the night he fully became a Sith Master, too. Like, Darth Maul was just some guy they raised and trained, and he did their dirty work so they could still, stay hidden in the shadows. Darth Bane with the Rule of Two. Oh, there's just as many Sith as there is as Jedi, but they're always infighting. And, 6 weak Sith will gather up and, like, gang up on a powerful Sith that's in charge. And then he's no longer in charge, but then you've got weaker people. The 6 weaker people are now running things, and they're going to fight. So, like, it keeps weakening itself. You get the Rule of Two coming in there, and it's a master and an apprentice. They battle at some point. The stronger one wins. If it's the apprentice, good. They deserve to be in, to lead because their master was weak. If the master wins, they find a new apprentice and retrain them. That way, every new Sith is stronger, more powerful than the one before it. It strengthens their order. Plus, it keeps them hidden. There's always, oh, I think this and this, but there's never really, with only 2 of them being around, they can hide. They can operate from the shadow. So that whole story of Darth Bane and how he came to that, you know, the original story of the Jedi, back when they were living on the planet Bogan and Ashla. You know what I mean? Which is where they got their light and dark side from, and all that. Like that whole story. Apparently lightsabers at one point actually had to have battery packs to keep them charged. You know what I mean? Like, there's a cool history there and a lot of stuff that ties in. People are into the Mandalorians and Boba Fett and all that shit. Like, the Great Hyperspace War with the Mandalorians and the Sith and the Republic and blah blah. There is so much content to be had. And I figure since people like to see their comic books and their TV shows and shit like that broken down and kind of, explained and read to them, why the hell not do Star Wars? Because it's something I know about and I can go off on it for days and I would love to fricking do it. There's some really awesome shit there. Obviously, if people start watching my stuff, I'm going to have to get a better camera and setup because this looks like shit, but I'm not spending money on all that new crap when no one's watching my stuff. So hopefully, we'll see what happens and, we'll get something good. But, yeah, just, so whatever. I want comments and like likes. I want to know people like the crap or if they don't like the crap. And I want comments because I want other people's opinions. You know what I mean? Yeah, it'd be great to make money on YouTube and have, billions of subscribers and all that shit. But at the end of the day, like, I just, I want people to converse with about this and I want comments and opinions and I just want to discuss this kind of cool shit. So I don't know. I'll put this video out, leave it up for a while, see what happens, and then maybe I'll, pick a book, a good starting spot somewhere I think is a good, you know, spot to start from. I might do Heir to the Empire. It was actually the first novel written, the first, George Lucas, finally gave permission. He's like, yes, you can write Star Wars novels, but they weren't allowed to do anything that happened before Star Wars because George Lucas had still at that point planned on making the sequels, the prequels, and he did. But yeah, that was the first book. It was a trilogy. Oh, and you know, it was really cool. Grand Admiral Thrawn was like one of the coolest people ever. So I might start with there, and then we'll bounce around. But you know, we'll see what happens. So yeah, I'll post this up, and you know, hopefully I'll get some views and some comments and shit, and I can see where we're going. So I can't think of anything else to say. No snappy comeback. Okay, peace out.